Hey, what's up, guys? I'm gonna do this video really quick for Jade right here. She asked about she asked a really good question, and she asked it respectfully, and so I want to address that. And I'm gonna try to sum it up as best I can. I'm no expert. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, so I'm gonna make this one really quick. But I'm just using logic. I'm just using logic. A lot of the ancient cultures, they said we would ascend to the heavens. Okay, we would go up. Okay, it's ubiquitous across most of what you would call ancient belief systems, ancient religions. I mean, you could just look at it. But she asked that we become stars when we die. Okay, so she's quoting me. Is that not a Copernicus theory that the Earth is a ball in motion and came into being from nothing? No, that isn't a Copernicus theory. It certainly isn't. Copernicus, the heliocentric model, from my understanding, is that the Earth is a ball spinning in the middle of. They couldn't see, and first they say it's nothing, then they say it's dark matter, dark energy, blah blah. It's a lot of confusion. A lot of people ask me why I don't use a lot of scientific data. And what I'm saying is the burden of proof is on basically the round earthers. I have not seen one single piece of evidence that the Earth is round. I haven't seen one. I'm still waiting for someone to point it out to me that the Earth is round. You're handing me a photo from NASA is not proof, especially when they're telling you the photo's been tampered with. So I'm still waiting. But yeah, no, that's not a Copernicus theory. What else she actually? It seems you are espousing the Copernicus theory, but also the fixed flat Earth as well, side by side. You can delve into that a little bit. This argument comes down whether the Earth is the center of the universe and stationary, therefore had a creator, God, etc. Or it just blew up and just was no creator and is a ball spinning through space. No, the Big Bang never happened, and I'm going to talk about it. You can't get something from nothing, right? This idea that it was matter and antimatter coming together, or negative protons and positive protons coming together and creating these, or negative particles and positive particles coming together, creating matter. And that's where it stops. They can't go any further than that. And the reason they can't go any further, see, I might have to make 2 videos of this because it really boils down to fear. A lot of people cannot accept the fact that they just don't know. Everybody wants answers. So, the Catholic Church, they come with their answers. The Muslims, they come with their answers. The scientific community, they come with their answers. The truth of the matter is no one is really sure. There's one creator, I believe, and what name you want to call him or her, that's entirely up to you. I don't get into debates on who's right or who's wrong. But let me just add this, that no, I'm definitely not espousing to the Copernican theory. Copernican believes that it's a spinning ball going through space, and they don't talk about ascending to heaven or anything. In fact, they don't believe in a heaven. So let me kind of get to that. People ask me, where's my proof that the Earth is flat? Well, if you just look at a photo that doesn't have a fisheye lens on it. See, that's the trick. All the photos now have fisheye lens on them. And I'll deal with that later. One that doesn't have, that's a standard photo, you will always see a flat horizon. It doesn't get any more scientific than that. I mean, your eyes are telling you. I mean, you don't need 10 books and 1,500 degrees from the Ivy League colleges just to tell you that the horizon's flat. I mean, that's just pure, basic, fundamental common sense. Okay, so let's move past that. Now, here's Matt Boylan, right? Now, he did an interview, and he's describing what he learned when he was working for NASA. Now, a lot of people argue and say it's not true. Some say whether it's true or not, it makes perfect sense. So let's listen to what he has to say.
Exactly, but how they function, everything.
Right,
physics, science.
He's talking about
everything
temperature.
we understand in movement of energy and objects in this new or hidden science.
Let me kind of skip forward.
How everything is caused by temperature.
Temperature, right? So, I mean, that's basic fundamental common sense, because if you go underground, it gets really hot, and the further you go up, it gets really cold. Now, let's take a look. If you look here, right, they always talk about the core of the Earth. No one has a picture of it, but everyone believes it, right? It's always modeled. So here we go. As you go down below the Earth's crust, you get down towards the magma, it gets extremely hot. Everyone knows that. I mean, when a volcano erupts, everyone knows it's really hot down there. No matter where you go on planet Earth, if you take a stick and it's long enough, you're going to run into some really hot stuff, okay? That's everywhere, right? All right? So now the further you go up, right, like Mount Everest, it gets colder, okay? So what we're living in is a clash between hot and cold. And we're right somewhere in the middle, okay? So let's continue to go further. Here, if you guys read this, as you go up in elevation, the colder it gets. And it gets extremely cold in some of these places, according to science, so-called science, right? Now, let's read here. Even with a summertime temperature 19 to 20 degrees near the sea level, it will get down to 20 to 30 degrees below zero at the mountaintop. It is even worse in winter when the mercury could fall to minus 50. Okay, so, and this is the higher you climb, the colder it gets. Okay. Then you go down deep into the caves. The caves, this is really interesting, but the cave is extremely hot with air temperatures reaching to 50 degrees Celsius, right? With 90 to 99% humidity. So it gets really hot in some of these caves the further you get down there. Okay. Now, so, I mean, if you just watch old photos of guys, like people who are doing mining, very little air and extremely hot. Okay, so, I mean, just check that out. So you go down, it gets cold. You go up, it gets hot. I mean, you go up, it gets hot. You go down, it gets hot. You go up, it gets cold. All right, now watch this.
For the medical applications, there are many cases where you'd like to know what's going on into a patient's brain when they have movement disorders. For example, a Parkinson's patient can sometimes experience freezing gait. With this technique, we can actually look at the ongoing electrical activity in their brain during walking.
Now, electrical activity in the brain. Okay, so they have his brain set up because your body, all you are is electricity. All your thoughts is electricity. Without electricity in your brain, your body's just a piece of meat. Okay, it's the electricity that gets you going. The heat that's generated from that electricity is what gets you going. So it's the electricity, okay, on your brain, right? So let's take a look here. Most neurons have multiple dendrites, right? This is what connects them, which extends outward from the cell body and are specialized to receive chemical signals from the axon, termini, and other neurons. Dendrites convert these signals into small electrical impulses and transmit them inward in the direction of the cell body. Neuronal cell bodies can also form synapses and thus receive signals. So your brain is nothing but electrical activity inside the head. Okay, so what we are basically, our bodies are just shells for electricity. Okay, now, what does that mean? That means, you know, just like a lightning strike, the energy is there. Just because you can't see it, it's there. Okay, now, let's move to the next one real quick. Actually, before we get to the Big Bang, we're going to deal with this, right? All right, so here we live on, this is what's beneath us, right? I drew it up really quick because you asked me to, you know, people asked me to do it today, so I just did it. So nothing fancy, but below us is really hot. Then we have the city, right? And then we have the stars above. Right? Now, according to ancient religions, according even to some modern religions, and a lot of belief systems. This is not me just pulling stuff out of my behind. I'm just going based on what they said, okay? Go back and read the coffin text, right? Read the King James Version of the Bible. Read the ancient stuff. They said that when you die, when you transcend, you ascend and you go up into the heavens, the cosmos, right? Now, whether we go to a designated star or we become a star, that I'm not too sure of. I can't prove either or. But I know that based on what they said, we go up. So that's the best that we have. There's nothing else we have. We have no other barometer that we can measure what happens after death, so-called death. Nobody can really, there's no book that confirms it. So other than, I mean, some people may say the Bible confirms it and such and so forth, but, you know, either way, regardless of what book you're going from, when we pass, supposedly we go up, okay? And it kind of makes sense because when you look down below the ground, it's hot. When you go up, it gets cold, okay? So we live on a plane. We don't live on a ball. We live on different planes, right? So here we go, the clashing between the hot and the cold. Let me zoom out here. This is the lava magma below us, and this is the ice above. All right. Now, of course, it doesn't look like that, but I don't know. My computer's running weird right now, but the stars are above. So that's pretty much what happens. And as far as the Big Bang, we're gonna deal with that right now because you can't get something from nothing. In fact, nothing is something. If I had a box, an empty box, even though the box appears to be empty, it's still a box and there's still air in it. Okay, so there's no such thing as nothing. Nothing doesn't the concept of nothing doesn't exist. There's no beginning or end. It always was. So in our brains, we think that because we need a full picture, we think that there's a beginning and an end. We think there's a universe. We think that we live on a ball because we need a picture. But the thing is, our brains are limited. We can't conceptualize infinity. Okay? But the concept of the Big Bang is that, if I have 1 plus 1 and I kept 1 plus 1 or 1 times 1 multiplied by 1, and I kept going 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, and I kept going on, it will go on forever. That you can do that. But the thing you cannot do is subtract 0 from 0 or 15 from 0 and get 30. You can't do that. There's no mathematical equation that can do that. Okay, so you can't. I believe everything always existed. It just keeps changing form, but it always was here. Okay, so if we go here, in this, again, they always want a picture. So they supposedly it started out as this little, I don't know what you would call it, matter and antimatter, and then everything exploded and ended up like this. Okay, that would be equivalent to taking this block here with several different colors on it, and then slowly you will end up with a Rubik's Cube. Or you will have a Rubik's Cube that's just colors everywhere, and then all of the colors, I threw it up in the air and it landed. And when it landed, all the colors ended up on the same side. Okay, so what we're living on is when the heat comes up and it meets the cold, it creates a like this mantle. It creates crust. And we live on the crust. And I mean, that's the best thing we have. Can I prove that? No. But nobody can prove it. You can't prove where the universe came from. Nobody, and I'm not talking specifically to Jade, I'm talking to everyone. Nobody can prove one way or other where the universe came from. You can't prove it. Okay? So the best thing you have to go with is logic. And that's why I'm promoting common sense science, or some people call it the zetetic philosophy. Either way, it's basically what you can observe is what is real. That's basically what you go by. So I hope that explains it. I'll be talking more about this, but Yeah, peace and God bless.